Elections and electoral processes in Africa continue to develop and have become much more organized and fairer in many countries on the continent. 2023 saw several elections held across Africa, with some being labeled as free and fair by international observers, while others, such as the one in Gabon, were criticized for not being above board. In Nigeria, there was a peaceful handover of power after Bola Ahmed Tinubu won the presidential election in February. He took over office from Muhammadu Buhari. The opposition, however, challenged that result in court but lost in subsequent legal proceedings. Almost all elections in Nigeria since 1959 have been challenged in court, except for the 2015 polls, where the then President Goodluck Jonathan conceded defeat in the presidential poll where he was seeking re-election.
To begin with, the fact that African countries are holding elections is a good thing, because it shows some transition from the old ways where there were no elections at all. And also the fact that political contenders have an avenue, a chance to go to court, is also a positive aspect in the evolution of democracy. But we have to know that democracy, what does it mean? It means participation in decision making, and it does not mean elections alone. Elections is just part of democracy. Democracy means, when we look at it holistically, it means supporting the system that is in government, making demands of that particular system, participating in that system in terms of interest groups, creating awareness, or offering yourself for election in a political party, or supporting a political party in an election.
In Liberia, President George Weah conceded defeat to opposition leader Joseph Boakai after a tight presidential election. Weah's concession paves the way for Liberia's second democratic transfer of power in over 7 decades. The first was when Weah swept to power 6 years ago.
So with regard to electoral processes, I think many African countries have made progress in that particular area. But if we are to make a judgment, are we doing well? Yes, we are doing better than before in the 1960s and 70s, where there were no elections at all. But in terms of elections that we have now, we can say that we have made progress. What happened in Liberia is a big plus for the Liberians, because it's a country that was only used to wars, civil wars, and in terms of politics. And what happened, that the fact that George Weah was beaten by a small margin, but still conceded defeat, is a big plus, and it's a big signal that the democratic process in Kenya, in Africa, is evolving towards a positive side.
In Madagascar, President Andry Rajoelina won re-election in the first round of a ballot boycotted by nearly all opposition candidates. Rajoelina first came to power in 2009 following a mutiny that ousted former President Marc Ravalomanana. He then skipped the following elections only to make a winning comeback in 2018. In Egypt, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has secured a victory in the December presidential election and a new 6th term in office. It is Sisi's 3rd term since taking power after the 2013 overthrow of Egypt's first popularly elected president, Mohamed Morsi. Morsi won the presidency a year after the toppling of long-ruling autocrat Hosni Mubarak in a popular uprising. Democracy remains deeply rooted in many African countries. However, calls for better organized elections have continued to become louder across the continent as opposition parties raise questions about the transparency of electoral processes. Nick Mudimba, CGTN.